All right, so there's a couple of different ways that I've used it so far. First and foremost, it is so much easier to strip a wire to length like this. Check it out. Whoop. Look at that. No matter what length you need, you got too much, cut it down to size. Now, what I also used it for is I used it to create a gap in the insulation so that I could run a voltmeter probe on it and see if I got voltage. So let me show you how you would do that. So you basically do it the same way wherever you can get access to it, and then instead of pulling the trigger all the way, you want to just pull it a touch like that. See? And then now you've got yourself an exposed wire. And then if it's not too far off the end, you can always just slide it back down. But I also use liquid or regular electrical tape to close that up. So again, this is the iCrimp by IWISS. This is the ICP-338. Great tool, super easy compared to the other ones. Let me show you the other type of wire stripper that you've probably seen. So here's an old style wire stripper that we all probably have one in our toolbox. And you notice that it has sizes already listed. So what basically you surround the wire and then you pull and strip. But the problem is in enclosed environments, you're pulling and stripping and you can be hitting your knuckles. These things get dull really easy. It's not precise. So out with this tool and in with this one. So, you know, sometimes patching a connector is probably the best way to go. You know, you can use some solder seals to get it done, but other times you may need to de-pin the connector and repin it if the wire is corroded. And as you saw with this car, that's highly likely that the connectors may be corroded. So what you can do is you can splice in another wire, or you can just de-pin this and reconnect it with a new connector. And these types of connectors here, these are called barrel connectors. And this is an open end barrel connector, but I also have a closed end barrel connector that I want to show you as well. So this car is 23 years old, right? I mean, it needs to be addressed. And some cars, like the convertibles, tend to corrode faster than the non-convertibles. And that's the case here. So let me show you what the crimping tool looks like. But first, what I want to do now is I want to demonstrate de-pinning the connector so you can see how easy it is with the proper tools. And then I'll show you what it's like to crimp a new barrel. And then we can show you what it's like to put it back in. All right. But so speaking of the right tools, the iCrimp kit. Now this is an open and closed barrel kit, and it has everything you need to repair a connector or to install a new barrel connector, male or female. The only thing it doesn't include are the actual connectors, so you'll have to supply that yourself, and they're not cheap. But here's what's included in the kit. So you get your de-pinning tools, all different sizes, as well as this really handy screwdriver and hook here that helps remove safety connectors and things like that. So I'll show you that as well. And then of course the crimping tools themselves, it comes with 3 for different sizes, from 12 to 18 to 20 gauge. And then as well as these open barrel crimpers, but I have a ratcheting one, so I may not be using that. All right, so we got to de-pin this. And I want to show you what this is for so that you can see how easy it is. So oftentimes these connectors have little safety protectors or blockers here on the bottom to keep the pins from popping out of the connector. So you'll need something to yank that out. And like I said, that other tool is perfect for that. Let me just get it. So you take this little claw and then you can just get inside that safety connector and just pop it out. And then the same thing here. Now these have already been pre-popped out, right? But I would put my tool in there and then pop that out, and that'll keep it from locking me out. so I can get that pin out right there. All right, so let's do that next. All right, so what you need to do is you need to get the proper size de-pinning tool and put it in through the top. And you need to get the one that goes around the barrel, that fits around it, because you're gonna have to push back those locking teeth in there to get it out. So it's gonna go something like this, and I'm not gonna be able to do a full demonstration because I'm down a yogi mama. So you push that in like this and push, and then it'll de-pin it. So let me go ahead and do that off camera, and then I'll show you when it's done. All right, so once it's pushed in, it'll make a little popping sound, and then you can see the end of the connector, and then it should just come right out like this, see? And see, this is a barrel connector, and you can see those little hooks or teeth, those locking mechanism right there. That's what you gotta push down. And then there's the open barrel crimp style, like I said. So you can go with open barrel, you can go with closed barrel, depending on the style of the connector. So this one here is gonna be a open barrel connector with the teeth on it to lock it in place. So let me demonstrate that now. Now that that's out, and you wanna run a new wire, this is how you'll do it. So you'll need to get yourself some new open and closed barrel, and make sure you get the right size. These here are 18 gauge. The ones that I was showing you over there are the larger ones, like the 12 gauge or 14 or 16 gauge, the thicker style. But I'm gonna demonstrate here on this style. And then over here is the open barreled style, which you use a standard crimper or a pair of pliers to close those up. And I'm gonna show you the easiest way. Once you do it this way, you'll never wanna do it any other way. But notice here real quick that this isn't the right barrel or connector for that replacement there, right? It has some teeth there at the bottom that lock it into place, but nothing else to hold it into the plastic housing. So be sure you get the right kind. But now we gotta get some wire. So I have some wire here, and we're gonna need to strip the end off just enough. Once it's in place, all you gotta do is squeeze the trigger, and boom, look at that. Instant strip. Here's the right size for this type of connector. It is a 14, 16, and 18 gauge closed barrel. This little thumb screw here is to adjust how strong you want to create your crimp. And see, there you go. Set it in there like that. And then you crimp it. There. And there you go. Solid. It's not going anywhere. Then you'll take this and plug it right back in to your connector. In this case, it's gonna go on the end, like that. Click it back in place. And there you go, brand new connector.